Ho, ho, ho. Welcome to the Batman Show. Ian and I are in the house. Eric Woods will be joining us momentarily. Uh, it is the Christmas season. Merry Christmas, everyone. I hope you're wearing your Christmas sweaters.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. That's cool. Eric Woods is en route. He's having some audio issues, he said. So hopefully he'll be here soon. Just welcome to chat real fast. We've got Big Al in the house. How are you, sir? Good to see you. And David Pinchak. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hi, David.
So, Ian, Christmas scores. Where should we start?
It's your show. I mean, what do you
It's
think?
our show.
It's our show. It's our show. It's our show. Well, what I've done here, as I briefly mentioned to you before you came on air.
Before we jump into that, should we discuss the biggest news that's on everyone's mind right now in the entertainment world?
What would that be?
Kanye West.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Or that new Indiana Jones trailer.
Oh, that'll work. That'll work. That'll work. Do you know what? I'm stoked. That really got my blood going in a good way. I just thought, I'm excited to see this. That was my
It
initial
looks like
reaction.
Indiana Jones.
It does, yeah.
It looks like Steven Spielberg directed it.
It just looks great fun. I mean, it's hard to tell from a 2-minute trailer, but yeah, it just looks fantastic. And there's been a bit of criticism about the kind of de-aging of Harrison Ford in some of the scenes. But I think it looks fine. But I'm going to make up my mind once I've seen the film. I'm not going to rip it down and tear it apart just from 2 minutes of trailer. To me, it got me excited. It got me smiling. It got me going, yes, at the end of it. So I'm happy to go and see it. What about you?
It's the first trailer in a long time that I've just sat and just kept hitting the repeat button on.
Good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I didn't quite get the part where he says, like, I don't believe in magic. And I'm like, what? Maybe magic means different things to different people.
Yeah. But I just love the way the trailer end where he's whipping those people around the table, and just everybody draws a gun, and then he just ducks behind the table and they will start firing. I just thought, yeah, at that point I just thought they've got the humor right. The action looks it looks exciting. I mean, the last film they went more for kind of just goofy comedy rather than just being rawly exciting, which is what the first three were like. But it looks like they've got it right this time. I hope anyway.
I'm excited to see Salah back in action. Hopefully.
Yeah, saw him briefly in the trailer, and it's just good that he's back in the film again. Yeah.
Can we get some short round, please?
That would be sweet, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it?
Yeah. And there's no, because he got married at the end of the last one. There's no mention of Marion at all. At all.
You see, he's wearing a wedding band.
Yeah. Are they just being really, really secretive and they're keeping her under wraps, or I don't know. I don't know what the story is with that. Is she going to be dead like Sean, like his dad was dead in the last one? Nice. You call him Dr. Jones, doll? Oh, that's I shouldn't have said it like that. But
I was watching Stone Temple Doom the other day. I was like, yeah, I don't know anyone who really has a problem with this film. I mean, the internet says people do, but I personally don't know any of these people who have problems with Temple of Doom.
No, the Temple of Doom is it's probably my favorite Indiana Jones film, and I've said that in the past. I remember going to see that when it first came out in theaters. So I was about 16 when it hit theaters here in the UK, and my legs were like jelly when I walked out of the theater after seeing that film. It was just, I'd I loved it. I absolutely loved it. The last half hour of that film is just wall to wall action, and it was just phenomenal. Loved it, and the music was just great. Yeah, so yeah, I'm excited for the new Indiana Jones, and I like the title as well, Dial of Destiny. What do you think of the title?
Title, it sounds Indiana Jonesy to me. It sounds like one of the paperback books that came out in the 90s. Uh, it sounds like it could have been titled one of the Marvel comic books. So I don't have no problem with that.
Yeah, yeah, it's yeah. See, I don't want to tear it down. I don't want to look into it too much. I don't know anything more about the film than what I've seen in the trailer. I mean, there's been a lot of just ridiculous things written about it, and James Mangold has come out, saying that things people have been saying on the on the internet is just people making up stuff, and then other people are running with it, and it's just getting out of control. So yeah, I'll make up my mind once I've seen it.
I've heard a lot of people say like Harrison Ford looks old. Yeah, he's 80. How are
Yeah,
you going to look at 80 years old?
no, I think he
Not
looks pretty.
good. I guarantee you.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
not
he
you
looks
personally,
pretty
but I'm talking
damn
about
good.
you, internet. Like,
Yeah, yeah. But he looks pretty damn good for an 80-year-old, I think.
yep, he's a very active man,
Yeah,
and Indiana Jones is never an Arnold type who's just going to like punch someone in the gut and rip out their spine. He's always gotten his ass handed to him several times, but he
yeah,
gets out because of his wit. So I'm okay with him being older. He doesn't have to get in as many fist fights. He just be clever and figure something out. I'm good with that.
yeah, absolutely. So
David Pensack says his favorite cue from Temple of Doom is Slave Children's Crusade. How can that not be? I mean, that along with everything else on that CD. I mean, we've never had a complete one, but when we do, that entire CD will be equally as good.
no, I always is it Short Round Helps? The one that we never had released before, and then it came out in that Concord box set that everybody
Yeah, that's
says is
a portion of a
hellishly
box
bad.
set, but
Well, it is, but it gave
it's
us
more than we've
extra,
ever had. Yes, yes,
yeah,
yeah.
and it gave me stuff that I always wanted, like the continuing fight in the mine, and yeah, so yeah. But until we get the super duper La La Land reissue, whatever, whoever does it, um, I'm happy with that for the time being. But there's a bigger one down the line, I think.
I hope so.
Any,
I really do.
but Indiana Jones is not a Christmas film. I don't think any of them have covered Christmas, have they?
No, they haven't.
No. Uh, but yeah, when it came to Christmas movies, I've just dug out a load of CDs here. I'll try not to show you them, but I've got a load of CDs of scores which I think cover.
Well, let's see what
Chris,
you got, because I just made a list on notebook paper.
well, you and I are probably going to agree on some of these. So shall I go through the ones that I think are the big hitters?
Yes.
Okay. Home Alone.
1 and 2?
I only have one, and it's only the original soundtrack release.
You don't have the expanded Home Alones?
I don't have the expanded Home Alones.
Right.
So, and it's only that one that I have.
Well, if I had known that.
So that to me is a legitimate Christmas film with legitimate Christmas music. And it's all about Christmas.
Do you prefer Home Alone 1 or Home Alone 2 score-wise?
I prefer the first one.
You prefer the
thinking,
score of the first one more than the second one?
Yeah, I'm not overly familiar with it because I've listened to this one dozens of times, and I don't have the Home Alone tune score. This is the one I'm familiar with. So I take it you prefer the second one, do you?
I like, to me, Home Alone 2 is to Home Alone 1 what Predator 2 is to Predator 1. It's just more of that moreness about it.
Okay.
It's just dialed up, it's cranked up. I think here comes Eric Woods right now.
Oh,
Hello.
It's our favorite Canadian. Woo!
yay! And Eric.
Yeah, that was I have a new setup here. I'm doing everything through my Mac, and everything was fine until I decided to hook up the audio. And stupidly, I hooked up the input into my computer instead of the output from my mixer, and so yeah, I just feel like a bit of a dumbass, but glad we're here. What are we talking about? And obviously, my presence has scared Daniel away.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone. It's a solo show today.
Sorry, I couldn't resist that.
It's good. How you doing?
We were killing time before you
okay.
before you appeared, and we were just quickly discussing Indiana Jones and the new trailer. So,
yo, look at that! Wow. Are we doing a live unboxing now?
I'll open real fast.
Do it.
We were talking about Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2.
Mm-hmm.
I said Home Alone 2 is to Home Alone 1 what Predator 2 is to Predator 1, music-wise.
I think that's fair. It's, Silvestri adapted his music into Predator 2 brilliantly and added some new elements. I know in Home Alone 2, I think we have 2 new songs, but some of the action music is similar to Home Alone 1. I mean, the story beats are almost identical across the Home Alone movies. So, but I love both scores equally, and I find myself listening to Lost in New York more than I do the original.
Yeah,
and it's due to that. There's a great unreleased cue or unused cue in Home Alone 2, which is covered up by a song, and that's the Arrival in New York music. John Williams created this wonderful fanfare when we see Kevin in the cab driving over across the, I think it's the Brooklyn Bridge, and there's a song playing over top of that. But Williams wrote a cue for that, and it was just dazzling. It's one of my favorite cues. But I also like the sound quality of 2 as well. Armin Steiner recorded 1, and it sounds fine, but Sean Murphy recorded number 2, and it's just a little bit more of a beefier recording.
Sorry, I was distracted because I was trying to listen to what you were saying. At the same time, I was desperately trying to see what was coming out of these boxes that Daniel was opening.
Yeah, what did you get?
A bunch of Christmas stuff. I got an FYC from Thomas Newman, Little Children. I know nothing about this at all.
It's a Thomas Newman score. It's a good movie. I don't think there's anything really distinctive about Little Children, but
it was cheap, so I was like, okay.
Hey, that's a collectible.
They
don't make those anymore.
I got The Burbs.
Excellent.
The Burbs.
So you're the guy. No wonder they go out of print.
And okay. My copy, Boomer's Christmas, I can say because he never watches the show. I got one for Ian. And Skirwinkle's Christmas, I can say it because I told him, don't you fucking buy it for me. Like he did Clear and Press Danger. And he promised me he wouldn't.
Wow.
And then I got Tomorrow Never Dies.
Very good.
And then a Harry Potter set, not for me. I already have a copy. Mine looks exactly like this. I don't think I've opened the plastic cap off.
I don't have the Harry Potter set, and I was gonna buy it, and I couldn't afford it on this because I get all the digital copies anyway. But now I'm starting to go through my Williams collection and filling those like the gaps, like there's Williams right there, and just filling the gaps of the physical albums that I don't have. And so the Harry Potter set is one that I don't have, and so hopefully I think this month I'm going to put an order in and hopefully get it before it goes out of print again or goes out of stock. But I did pick up Amistad, but I don't have that right now. It hasn't arrived yet. And what was it? I did pick up the Burbs, so I feel like it's the definitive release of that score. So
Yeah.
I probably needed to get that one. But I think that, yeah, John Williams is something I've got to go through and get all the physical albums that I have digitally.
Yeah, I wanted to get this for Rose for Christmas, and I'm not even sure I'm going to give it to her at this point. But
It's a lovely set.
it is.
Yeah, and I didn't pick up the other ones. I mean, like I think you guys discussed last week. I mean, The Godfather just does nothing for me.
Yeah, likewise.
I have that City of Prague Godfather trilogy re-recording album. That's more than enough for me for Godfather music. But I'm glad the people that wanted Godfather got it, and it looks beautiful. And then Tomorrow Never Dies, I have the expanded version from Chapter 3 Records, and I just don't feel like I needed any more of that. Although hearing kind of the different variations on the song Surrender intrigues me, but not enough to get it. And Spider-Man, I love that score. I just don't listen to it enough to justify 3 discs of that. And
Maybe if you had a 3-disc set, you would listen to it. Mm-hmm.
I love it. And anytime I get a chance to listen to it, and I listened to it a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about the speculation as to what La La Land was going to release, and I went through that album, and I think Ian mentioned it. That album is superb, and I just don't have time anymore for those big expanded releases. So I'm more than happy with anything that's shorter, and I'll leave those 3 CD sets to others. I mean, physical copies. I'm going to get it digitally, like I do everything from La La Land. But and I'll go through it, but I just don't feel like I actually physically need it.
I'm way excited to get this.
I mean, it's sensational score. It is, and I would love to. Yeah, I'd love to hear your review of it. How the unreleased tracks, what do they sound like? It's a great
Right, go away and listen to it now.
Yeah, can you do that, please?
Just like throw a thing on the screen like 2 hours later.
Yes, that's right. Absolutely.
Okay, is that everything that you got? Was it?
That's everything I got. I don't know why Little Children came in such a big ass box, but okay. Yeah, I'm glad to get the Burbs finally on CD. I've got the Waxworks record, and I thought that would probably be all that I would ever get because I did not want to drop 3 figures on this.
No, but I mean, we're gonna. I hear your point about it going out of print, and I think that your argument is that these Goldsmith fans, they're absolutely nuts when it comes down to collecting film scores. So you might be right that this will sell out fast. Well, especially if people keep buying 4 copies for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he hasn't.
Present. Let's not start rumors about me being a hoarder. I'm just like, Ian, this is you. Skirwingle, this is you. Boomer, this is you. So,
and again, thank you, Daniel. Thank you.
Well, what's going to happen is this is going to go on my table for like 6 months, and you'll get another box of like 30 CDs, and it's like,
oh, that made me feel good. So if you want to leave it for 6 months, that's fine by me.
it is easier to ship like 20 something at a time, though.
Yeah, it makes it worthwhile, I suppose.
And I mean, they charge like $30 just to ship one. It was like 70 to ship 20.
Wow! Oh my god!
I mean, it is what it is. Can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Hello, Victor. How are you? Good to see you.
Hi, Victor.
Hey, Victor, check your email,
So, Eric, what
please.
were your thoughts on the Temple Doom, the
Dial of
new Indiana
Destiny.
Jones trailer, real quick?
I funny enough, out in the mall getting my son's haircut, so it just popped up, and I'm like, okay, so watched it sitting there, and I was grinning like a schoolboy. It was amazing. I watched it again a few more times, but I just wasn't, um, you know, diving into it and trying to pick it apart and speculate this and speculate that. And I read some of the reports about the rumors and all that sort of junk, and I find all that stuff to be crap. And if it comes true, then fine. That's the way the story is being told. But I'm curious as to how they're going to pull this all off, and I'm really impressed with the de-aging that they did on Harrison Ford. Whether that the continuity of that stays throughout the uh, the film, because we can see how wonky it can get, and I'm sure that Harrison Ford's going to have lines when he's back in 1945. So how is he going to sound? And are they maybe going to AI his voice like they did with James Earl Jones in Obi-Wan Kenobi, because he's got a really gruff old man voice now, which would not fit with an Indiana Jones back in the 30s and 40s. So I'd be interested to see what they're going to do with his voice, because it's a very just distinct Harrison Ford voice, but has obviously changed throughout the years. And but besides that, I saw so many videos of people just getting angry, and I think they just want to be angry at something, and they're calling it a woke film, and Kathleen Kennedy's ruining this again, and whatever. I just think that I think we just need to see the movie first before we tear it to shreds. And I just don't know what kind of joy people get out of just over analyzing a 2-minute trailer, which is actually a teaser trailer. But I thought, you know what, it looked fun. But again, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull looked fun, and we'll see how that turned out. But I mean, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna be first in line the day it opens, and hopefully it's good. And honestly, I can't wait to hear what John Williams has come up with it. So he's going out with a bang, but I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued what they're going to do with it. I mean, Indiana Jones can't die. I mean, if we're going through Indiana Jones lore, I mean, old Indy was eliminated from the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles on VHS and DVD, and I don't know if it's been on Blu-ray, but remember, old Indiana Jones was telling those stories in his 80s.
How do you get that eye patch?
Now that would be incredible if they did that, and Indy loses an eye in this, and he survives.
Down with it.
Then I'm like, you've nailed it, and you understand it. And but yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by the story. I want to know what they're doing. I mean, I've heard the time travel rumors. I think that's a lot of fun. It stays within whatever Indiana Jones has been experiencing throughout the other 4 films. I mean, he's seen hearts being ripped out of people's bodies, and the power of God twice, in an alien. I mean, in a freaking alien ship. Like, why is time travel so out of the kind of the believability in the Indiana Jones world? So I'm looking forward to it. I really am, and I really hope it does well. And I hope it's a great send off. That send off that I think that we already had a great send off in '89, but hopefully this one just makes up for what we got from number 4, and we say bye to this character properly.
James Alexander asked if we think John Williams will actually retire, or is that just like cray talk? I think this is it, unless Steven Spielberg comes to him with like, hey man, I'm working on this. I'd like you to do it. And you've got all the time in the world to get it done, meaning like 9 months to a year or whatever. I think then something might happen. I think he'll do some more concert works, but as far as a film, because he said, and I fully understand this. He said, to devote 6 months of my life to a film at my age is a large chunk of time. And it's like, that's very true. And, I can totally understand that.
I mean, he's not exactly retiring though. I mean, maybe he said, "Look, I'm not going to write any more film music," but he's doing. He seems to be doing more conducting and more traveling around the world to do these concerts than he ever did before. It's great. I mean, he hasn't come to the UK, but he's doing so many more concerts in Europe now than he used to. And the guy's 90, so
91 in February.
91 in February, yeah. So, but I think Steven Spielberg is. I don't think he's going to do any big films. I think Steven Spielberg is just kind of happy to do these, the smaller, more personal films, because I think Ready Player One almost killed him. I'm not surprised, but I'm just happy to see anything that Spielberg does anyway. So.
Yeah, I think it'd be exciting if Spielberg asked Williams to maybe write a theme or two for his new movies, and then he has another composer come and adapt that. I mean, you'd have to check your ego at the door if you're that other composer, but maybe that would be an intriguing idea, and it's something that John Williams has been doing in the past few years. But yeah, I think after Indiana Jones, you're right. I think there's more travel, more concerts. I think he just loves that. And then continuing, I mean, I think he has about, what was he? I think there was times where he's working on 2 or 3 new pieces. And I'm intrigued to hear those. I think we're done with John Williams film music. And it's kind of exciting that he ends it with, one of his most popular franchises. So, yeah.
But he hasn't lost his. I mean, I think he's had a resurgence in his creativity over the past kind of. Just look at Force Awakens, or look at the Star Wars trilogy as a whole. This new Star Wars trilogy compared to, I mean, the prequel trilogy was great, but this sequel trilogy is just marvelous, I think. So.
Yeah, I always found that the Force Awakens. I mean, it's weird to say, but I think that maybe he thought that was his last hurrah with Star Wars, and they were just probably going to move on and do something else. But he was going back to the days of writing the original trilogy and the Phantom Menace, with all of those wonderful new themes and just a youthful energy. And I think he was like, I'm going to throw everything I got at this thing, and it came out so wonderfully. And I don't think they got worse, but I don't think they were progressively any better than The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens is just top tier Star Wars. I think it stands alongside, for me, The Phantom Menace and the original trilogy, no doubt about it. But I think that, yeah, I mean, you're just. I think the point that Daniel made, where is you gotta. John Williams cannot dedicate 6 months of his life to something, or even 6 weeks. It's just a long period of time for him is at that age. And I think that he wants to explore other options and start doing more concert work and things that he wants to do that he couldn't do before. And I'm fine with that. I think that's just as exciting as him writing another film score. I mean, again, I'm not a huge fan of all of his concert work, but some of the stuff that I do love, it's really good. And so I'm pretty excited. As long as he's, not constantly working with Sophie Mutter, then if he moves on to other soloists, then I'm okay with that.
It's all right, Daniel. It's all right. Okay, Christmas music.
Yeah. Where do you want to begin?
Die Hard 1 and 2.
Oh my God. You went to the extreme. Holy smokes.
Well, I wrote out a list, and at the top was Home Alone 1 and 2, then followed by Die Hard 1 and 2. And then from there, it gets a bit more Christmassy with Gremlins, So.
Wow, you totally went against tradition, which is actually quite interesting. So.
How's Die Hard and Home Alone not tradition?
I mean, as for traditional,
it's a modern tradition.
It's action. It's adult action, bloody gore and violence just so happened to be on
Have
Christmas
you ever
Day.
done Black Friday shopping at 4 a.m., my friend?
And I'm not saying that they aren't Christmas movies. I mean, they are definitely Christmas films. And it's interesting. I did a show that was kind of all of that kind of. I'm trying to even look and see. Oh yeah. This was an interesting show that I did. I had Christmas horror movies on it. So actually, you should listen to this. It's a score called A Christmas Horror Story. It's an anthology movie, and I think
Okay.
it's narrated by William Shatner as a radio host.
Captain Kirk?
Yeah, Alex Kashkin is the composer, and it's a pretty sweet score. And I mean, I don't mean sweet as in like delicate and angelic. It's awesome. So that's it. And I added Krampus, Douglas Pipe's beautiful score to Krampus. I was doing an episode of Batman the Animated Series and Die Hard and then Lethal Weapon. That was one show I did in 2015. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun to do those kind of films. I mean, how many Shane Black movies are going to have on this list?
Well, I've got one, two. I've got a few here actually. So yeah.
I mean, everything he writes is around Christmas.
Iron Man 3, right?
Iron Man 3. Yep.
I completely forgot.
Kiss Kiss Bang
There we
Bang.
go.
Yeah, Lethal Weapon. I don't think The Predator though was during Christmas. I think
it's in South America. It could be Christmas time.
I think that was the first one though. No, The Predator, like the not Prey, but the one before that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the really bad one.
That was Halloween.
Oh, was it Halloween?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember much from it.
It's because the kid put on the Predator mask as his Halloween costume, and
if we can get away from the whole Die Hard thing at Christmas, I think Die Hard 2 is probably a better choice.
Die Hard 2 is great. Die Hard 2 is fantastic.
Die Hard 1 has more Christmassy elements to it, like the sleigh bells and the Winter Wonderland, and
absolutely
all that's worked into the score, and Beethoven's Ode to Joy, which wasn't written specifically for Christmas, but it's been adopted at Christmas season.
So funny because that's the bad guys theme. It's so hilarious how that became the theme of Die Hard, and it's the Germans in Die Hard 1. It's for nobody else. So weird. But yeah, no, it's Kamen's. I even think the third one is amazing too, but of course that's not in. It's in the summertime, not Christmas. But and then Beltrami took it over, and all 5 of those scores are wonderful. What a wonderful series of film music.
As you said, I love the fact that Die Hard had Beethoven as its kind of unifying theme to it, and then Die Hard 2 had Finlandia kind of woven into it.
Yes.
Die Hard with a Vengeance had When Johnny Comes Marching Home as the kind of overarching theme.
It's great.
Yeah. I think that was just Michael Kamen's kind of sense of humor as well to inject these things in there.
Totally.
But it was great. Yeah.
But they work. They're not. I mean, they're goofy, but they just seem to be perfect. For a dead serious actioner, it's like, oh my god, where does he find the humor in it? But it's great.
And especially when it comes to When Johnny Comes Marching Home, the final version he plays as the end credits start to roll on Die Hard with a Vengeance is the most rousing version I've ever heard of that. And it's just,
I agree. I was so disappointed when that wasn't on the original album. I mean, that was a whole mess. But I was thinking, oh my god, that's got to be on it. And I think it was like, I think they were halfway through sessions, and that's when they struck the soundtrack album, and so they didn't even have enough material. And I think they were still working on the new ending for that. So, which has a great track name. I think it's called "Oh Canada."
That's right. Is that why it's great?
Best film music track with Blame Canada is another good one. Tracks with Canada in it.
Yeah, so Die Hard, would you class it as a Christmas film?
Yes.
I watch it every December. That and Die Hard 2.
If Christmas isn't taking place in Die Hard doesn't happen.
I mean, and there's twisted sleigh bells at the beginning, which come right out of Lethal Weapon, which is also a Christmas movie. So, yeah, I'm fine with it. Oh yeah.
I was looking at that box set this morning on the eBay.
How much is
Well,
it?
I've taken that out of the box set. But,
Yeah. Is my box set even unwrapped? Nope.
Oh. Well, mine is because I had to get this out.
Yeah.
But that is a fabulous box set. Oh, there we go.
Indeed.
Is it worth like $150?
I don't know if it's worth 100. Well, it depends.
That's if it's 150. Think about it. You 4 scores. You're going to spend that, or you're going to spend maybe $40 less to get the Harry Potter scores and the Potter set. So if it's going for 150 on eBay, get it.
Well, yeah, it's an auction. I'm thinking 150 is about the max. I think that's fair, and I think that's an absolute bargain for it, and especially on the secondary market.
It's 8 CDs,
right,
of Michael Kamen goodness.
And Lethal Weapon 4 was a premiere release, and that's unbelievable. Like one of the most insane tracks Michael Kamen has ever written, and I'm going to find the actual name of it. And I think it was unused. It was so busy. Just going through iTunes right here. Lethal Weapon 4. The track is called Chinatown Chase Alternate. So anybody that has that track, listen to it after this show. It is bonkers. Like the orchestrations are insane. And I could see why maybe they rejected it and went with something a little less busy, but I can't believe, like, it's much like the unused Burly Brawl music from The Matrix. The original track, I can't believe that someone wrote that for a film and wrote that in such a tight a time. It's crazy the amount of notes that were put on the page. So Chinatown Chase Alternate, it's on disc 2. There it was, going to play it anyway. It's nuts. Like if you like ferocious, fast Michael Kamen action music, yeah, great cue.
Okay, so Die Hard 2, Lethal Weapon, the original Lethal Weapon, are all legitimate Christmas films.
Sounds good.
I would take exception to Lethal Weapon. I think that's a movie that takes place at Christmas, but I don't see it as a Christmas film. But
see,
isn't there an action scene where, like, within a Christmas tree farm or something like that?
There's who it could have been at a car lot, you know? I mean, you're right. He does shoot a Christmas tree, and the guy like falls out, like, you know.
Is it just me, or I think that's where the twisted Kamen sleigh bells come from? Lethal Weapon.
Yeah,
I think it's the first time we hear them. Yeah,
and Martin Riggs gets invited into the Murtaugh household at the very end for a Christmas meal.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And he's like more depressed because it's Christmas time. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And
you're right. I don't consider it like a traditional. I don't watch that one like in December like I do Die Hards. But yeah, the Die Hard ones just, I find they're great to watch during this time.
Okay. One that I chose, which as a Christmas film, 1941.
You know,
I know.
I thought about that.
But it's just full of Christmas paraphernalia, Santas with ammo belts around them. It's a Christmas film, and it's got Jingle Bells on the expanded soundtrack. So Enough said. Moving on.
I just want to bring up James Alexander. He's British, so he's bringing class to the chat because that's what British people do. They're classy, right, Ian?
Whatever. Yes, we are.
I expect It's a Wonderful Life will be back on again. That's usually a Christmas staple. Dimitri Tumkin did the score. It's not memorable. It's no Rio Bravo. Yeah, I saw that movie. I'm trying to remember the score. I've got the soundtrack somewhere, but yeah, it's not.
I remember the film more than the music.
Yeah.
Do you guys have that Sundance Film Music Series album that came out on Telarc that contain re-recordings of Miracle on 34th Street, A Christmas Carol Suite, It's a Wonderful Life?
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard that one?
No.
It's great. It's David Newman conducting, and you get these wonderful suites. I think It's a Wonderful Life is about almost 40 minutes long. And then you get the original Miracle on 34th Street at about 11 minutes. And then the Richard Addensill Christmas Carol Suite at 14 minutes. And it's like, you know, you think about Telarc Records. It's beautifully recorded with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. And I think it was supposed to be a continuing series of albums, of re-recordings, and it just never happened. So, but if you do happen to find it, pick it up. It's a wonderful album.
What's the title on it again?
It is. You'll see it on the right hand side of the cover. It says Sundance Institute Film Music Series. And then you'll see the three titles of the films. So It's a Wonderful Life, Christmas Carol, and Miracle on 34th Street. And yeah, it has all the characters from each of those films just kind of on the front cover as well. So it's called, on Discogs, it's called Sundance Film Music Series Volume 1. So I'm not sure if that's what it goes by. But I think that if you like re-recordings, it's wonderful. Give it a go.
Okay.
Gremlins?
Yeah. If only for that twisted Christmas story.
Goldsmith worked a lot of Christmas carols into that score.
Doesn't he work Silent Night into the when they're telling that story about her father?
But I was listening to it yesterday, and I'm like, there's a lot more Christmas music in this score than what I remembered.
Yeah, and on the soundtrack, it's got God Rest You Merry Gentlemen. So it's a Christmas film.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think we praised it a few weeks back. We were talking about Goldsmith albums. It's a classic for sure.
Yeah. We have talked about the Gremlin score quite a lot on the Batman show. So, yeah, great score.
All right, what else you got on your weird list?
What about The Holiday? Victor Fields bringing that up, and David Pinzak brought it up. I attempted to listen to that the other day in prep for the show, and I couldn't get very far into it. I was just like, this is why I'm not a Hans Zimmer completist, and I will never feel the need to be a Hans Zimmer completist. But that's just my take on The Holiday. Someone else likes it. Try to change my opinion.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Ian.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, Victor said in his comment that the Holiday cost $200 million.
Really?
What?
That's a lot of money.
Oh my God. Okay, let's look that up.
That seems.
And David got us the
was $85 million
for that CD.
But the box office was $200 million.
Oh,
That's what it brought in. The cost was 85. Still 85 million for that. I guess it's for all the
Yeah.
stars that were in it.
Yeah.
I mean, Kate Winslet, Cameron Diaz, Jude Law, Jack Black. Dean Cundy did the cinematography on it.
Wow.
It's I personally love Zimmer in kind of that smaller, intimate mode, more so than I do his epics. Although my favorite, epic scores of Zimmer's Gladiator and Backdraft and Prince of Egypt are all wonderful. But when he goes into kind of smaller territory, I find that there's more warmth to his music, and I find that even the orchestration feels richer. So again, whether it's him writing it or not, it's always great to hear stuff like Fried Green Tomatoes and Rain Man, The Holiday. An Everlasting Peace is one of my all-time favorite Hans Zimmer scores. So yeah, The Holiday's sweet. It's not something I ever return to, but it wasn't offensive. But what was it about it that you didn't like? I mean, were you just bored by it?
It just sounded the sound, the music just wasn't doing it for me. I was like, okay,
It's fair.
I don't like the Mona Lisa either. I look at it, I'm like, I'd rather go look at something else. Can I see Tell El Kabar, please? How about Alma Forward 42nd? Let's look at that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You're right. Welcome. Good to see someone new. She says, "Hey, Eric, my favorite is Michael Kamen's Die Hard."
Fantastic.
Once again, Die Hard is a Christmas film.
Yes, for sure.
I've got an odd choice here. Now, I chose some films that not necessarily Christmas films, but had a Christmas element in them.
Mm-hmm.
And this film had an iconic Christmas element right at the very beginning. And it's a film with Gene Hackman that he won his first Oscar for. And it's The French Connection.
That's great.
There's a chase scene at the beginning where he's dressed as Santa Claus, chasing a guy through the streets of New York. It's not exactly a Christmas film at all, but it was just the fact that Gene Hackman, in an Oscar-winning role, was dressed as Santa Claus. So.
Who did the score? Lalo Schifrin?
No.
No, it wasn't Ron Ellis. Was it Ron Ellis?
Don Ellis.
Don Ellis.
Don Ellis, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I love those type of films that kind of have just like one little Christmas element, but the rest of it obviously isn't a Christmas movie.
Like It's a Wonderful Life?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, because the Christmas element is right at the very beginning and right at the very end. The rest of the film is not a Christmas film at all.
I mean, that film's all over the place.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I bring up something like A Christmas Hug from Star Trek Generations. It is beautiful. I mean, it's the Nexus music. So this is when Picard's in the Nexus and he's, and that's a gorgeous cue. But that's the only Christmas element about that movie, but it really fits. And I think there was another, it was a Western called True Women, composed by Bruce Broughton. And there's a track called Family Christmas, and it's quite lovely. And even like with John Williams, there's a Christmas quilt from Stepmom. Those kind of like standalone beautiful cues are wonderful.
Yeah.
I am going to have to step away for just a few seconds, but I'll be back.
Okay.
Scrooge?
So, yeah.
What are your thoughts on Scrooge?
Do you know what? I don't have the score, but I do have the film.
I have the score on LP, but not CD.
Right. Okay. Danny Elfman, wasn't it?
It was.
did Scrooge.
It was.
Yeah. But I love the film Scrooged. I thought it was a really smart kind of modern take on A Christmas Carol. I think Bill Murray did a fantastic job. So
Karen Allen's in that movie too.
and she's lovely as well.
She is.
Yeah.
I like what Danny Elfman did with the chorus in that film. I think the most.
Yeah. It gets really dark towards the end as well.
Yeah, kind of does. Yep.
Yeah, and the music fits wonderfully with that. It's almost the nightmarish vision of. Yeah, but great film, great score. But yeah, I wish I did have the score for that. But
Henry Mancini's Santa Claus movie. I know nothing about that, so I will.
It's great. I didn't that come out? That was like Quartet Records, I think, wasn't it? It was like a 3 CD set.
Yeah,
or something like that. So
is that the Santa Claus movie with Tim Allen?
No, that's the Santa Claus. Different type of Claus. That's Michael Convertino, and that's wonderful. And he doesn't get enough score releases. He's a fantastic composer. And if you're unfamiliar with his work, a friend of mine, Doug Lacey, did a show on his music on my podcast. And there's a lot of previous unreleased material on there. He's a huge fan of that composer. So, yeah, Santa Claus is very kind of like quasi classical sounding. So it's just beautifully orchestrated. And yeah, it's fantastic.
Polar Express from Alan Silvestri.
I think it's a masterpiece. And that needs to be released in its complete form ASAP. I do have the promo, which has that fantastic runaway train sequence. Just thrilling action material with the Polar Express theme just blaring away. It's an amazing score. Yeah, I love it. I used to watch that film every year. I mean, it came out when my kids were really, really young, and my son loved that. So we used to watch it all the time. And I should watch it again. I mean, it's still creepy, but the score is it's unbelievable how good it is. And it's just the soundtrack, the original soundtrack release is just lacking. I just don't understand that. In this day and age, when you can release, a lot of music on albums now, to completely miss out on the highlights is crazy.
What about Jingle All the Way by David Newman?
That's awesome too.
Boomer and I watched that movie last week with Big Al, and I'm like, this is like the worst Arnold Schwarzenegger movie ever made.
Isn't it one of the more quotable ones, though? I think he has some great one-liners in there.
Like, put the cookie down.
Yeah. It's a ridiculous movie.
It's
kind of mean-spirited too. It's so weird, and it's really the Phil Hartman character is really like, I don't know. It's teetering on that indecent type of character, but it's a weird movie. But yeah, anytime you get David Newman to write a big orchestral score, then you can't go wrong. And that action finale is amazing. I'm saying amazing a lot, but wow.
I love the fanfare he did for Turbo Man.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a Turbo Man movie. Get David Newman to score.
They won't give it to David Newman. They'll give it to Ramin Djawadi.
I don't think I like any of his work. It all sounds like stale Coca-Cola on a hot day.
In the spirit of Christmas, we must drink down Ramin Djawadi.
That analogy just sounds weird, but it fits perfectly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to convey by, It's
Rarely have I listened to one of his scores like start to finish and went, yeah, that felt like a wonderful, complete listen. However, he does write a few gems, and I think, oh man, what's the name of the kaiju movie that he did? Pacific Rim. I think he was perfect for that. But then, as a complete listen, no. But I put together a suite that was 7 minutes long, and it's amazing. Just grabbing all the little things that I liked and put it together, and it's like, wow, this is pretty good writing. But the rest of it, no thanks. But when you get to Game of Thrones season 6, I mean, he wrote one of the greatest single television cues of all time for Light of the Seven during that crazy sequence, that shocking sequence in Game of Thrones season 6, and it's beautiful. Just this beautiful piano piece that just builds and builds and builds and builds to this incredible climax. And it's just a wonderful piece of music. You would think that he just wrote it on his own and they just slapped it into the show, but it fits every single beat and emotion, and it's amazing, really amazing. But yeah, I mean, I have a whole pile of his stuff, but most of it's just, you're right, like Fly Me to the Moon can be fun, but you're right. I look at everything that I have and I'm like, yeah, no thanks. I just, yeah, stale Coca-Cola sounds about right. And I hate dumping on the guy. I mean, like I said, he wrote, I think, one of the great television themes for Game of Thrones. Like I said, wrote one of the great single cues, and it's almost 10 minutes long. That's how long it is, and he sustains it. It's almost like a James Horner cue. It's wonderful. But the rest, nah. I never reach for a Javadi score. Never, ever. But people like them.
Okay. I have a James Bond score.
Okay.
On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Yes.
And it has a Christmas song written by John
does.
Barry. Do you know how Christmas trees are grown?
Which that almost sounds weird.
It sounds like a Christmas song had sex with a James Bond song. And
I like how you think. Just pull different things together and make it fit. Yes.
Yeah. Do you know how Christmas trees are grown? La, 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 la. But
don't give me a copyright strike now.
No, I stopped there. That's why I went into vomit mode. But yeah, but I mean, there is a Christmas sequence in the middle. It's not really a Christmas film, but again, this is just there's a sequence, and well, it is because they're sending these women out to infect the world at Christmas and using their Christmas presents. So it's a Christmas film. Moving on.
Miss Kira wants to know about Craig Armstrong, Love Actually.
Mm-hmm.
I had that on my list.
Yeah.
I had the FYC of that for several years.
Yeah. So did
and
I.
then La La Land finally released the complete score. Was it last year?
Maybe.
I think it was last year.
It was recent.
Still available. LaLaLandRecords.com. Not sponsored from them, but it should be.
You know, it's funny for as beloved as that film is and that music is, like, people have been dying for that soundtrack for the longest time. But I really do think it's that one cue that everybody wants and everybody knows and everybody hears. And I mean, it goes through various different variations in the score, but I can't. What is the name of that? What is the name of the cue? The finale cue. You know, it's just it's wonderful, beautifully orchestrated, great theme. But I haven't listened to that La La Land version yet, so I still only have the promo.
Well, you should order the La La Land release.
Yeah, I should.
Ian, what are your thoughts?
you know what? I'm not. I've seen the film a few times, but I'm not really that familiar with his score. So
it's funny. You're gonna listen to this score and you're like, I've heard that theme all my life. You feel like it's been a part of you forever. It was inevitable. And that's what happened when I first heard it, because I heard the score first, then saw the film again. And the film is great too. Heartwarming, and it's devastating at the same time. But the score is just like, oh man, it just melts you. And as I said, yeah, it just feels like that. You listen, you're like, I've heard this somewhere, I'm sure. And not as as a classical piece, it was borrowed. It just feels like it's always been there. It's the only way I can describe it.
What about Elf?
Elf? You know what's funny? I think that was actually performed this past weekend in Toronto, and I think John Debney was conducting. And I was gonna make it or maybe it's this weekend. I'm not sure. I was gonna make an effort to try to reach out to him and maybe interview him and see him, but it just too darn busy. But yeah, they're doing live to picture presentations
Or
of that
picture?
score.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it's great. It's got a great theme. I think the original album again was fine. I didn't really get anything out of the expanded edition that made me go, oh wow, I need to listen to that in complete form. So, oh, it's this weekend. Okay. Still, I wouldn't be able to get there. So maybe it was this past weekend he was doing it in Buffalo. But I know he's touring around with this film and conducting it. So
More reasonably close to me.
yeah, you should check it out.
Well, Canada's right next to the United States, isn't it?
It is.
They share borders, so that's quite close.
Yeah, you just go over the border and we're right there.
It is driving distance.
Yeah.
It's everywhere's driving distance.
Absolutely.
If you've got the time, I suppose.
What about James Horner's How the Grinch Stole Christmas?
Yeah. I'm not sure whether I talked about it here on this show or not, but when it came out, I listened to it and I forgot how, well, one, good it is, but how absolutely chaotic it is. And
it's pretty bonkers.
Well, it's kind of like a mix of his like crazy monkey mayhem music from Jumanji meets Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, meets kind of like the sentimentality of Christmas. Just like everything and the kitchen sink was thrown into it, and it is one of his more impressive orchestrated scores because there's just so much going on. I mean, James Horner's orchestrations are always brilliant. I mean, if you really pay attention to the way that he does voicing or harmony or like every time you listen to every second of a James Horner cue, there's always something going on. And if it's the main theme, then what you really got to do is listen to everything that's happening in the background. And what are the horns doing when the trumpet's playing? What are the strings doing? It's incredible that, I mean, James Horner does not get the recognition for the way that he writes and orchestrates. It's quite fascinating. He's so good at it. It doesn't feel flat, right? It doesn't feel like somebody's just plunking down on a keyboard and throwing it into a MIDI processor and saying, that's my score. I mean, there's some genuine thought, genuine skill. I think that it was just natural for him to write that way. But anyway, back to how the Grinch Stole Christmas. It is. I couldn't imagine writing something like that as a composer. Again, we were talking about Michael Kamen with that Chase Q and Don Davis with Burly Brawl. I mean, it's the effort that went into writing the score. You can feel it. You can hear it when you're listening to that score and hearing it in complete form. You're like, holy smokes, that's a ton of music. A ton. I couldn't imagine those sessions and the way that he liked to start and finish the entire cue. No inserts. It's unbelievable. And I mean, it's a testament to the players in LA as well, just how good they are at sight reading. The fact that and that blows me away. Sight reading, what a skill.
Yeah. And that's always amazed me when you go to a concert and the you know, if it's a good orchestra and they're doing sight reading, and the music that you hear from a live orchestra is the way you heard it on the original soundtrack recording. That just blows my mind. That you're sitting there listening to your soundtrack played live, and it's just, and you know, they may have rehearsed it once, but you know, this is brand new music to this orchestra. It's just incredible to me.
I always found it interesting that these orchestras that play mostly classical music, that when they get into film music, they find it extremely difficult. And I always thought that maybe it would be, I don't know, easier. I'm not sure why, but I heard someone mention, you know, why there were so many gaffes and screw ups in that Austrian concert for John Williams, that they're just not used to, one, that kind of conducting, and two, that kind of music. And I thought, oh, okay. The person never really expanded on those thoughts, but I was like, oh, that's interesting. But I mean, the orchestras that I've seen do, you know, live to picture, but mostly in Toronto, are fantastic. And you know what I also found? You're right, to make it almost sound like the original soundtrack recording, like to hit those specific not beats, but like, you know, there's always changes done on the scoring stage.
Yeah.
And you know, John Williams, for instance, might wanted something more from his trumpets in a cue, and then how do you relay that to your orchestra, you know, some 40 some odd years later, and make sure that you're doing that exact same thing? And I guess it's notated, but I mean, then again, John Williams is, maybe some of these things that he's asking from his players aren't notated. It's just, hey, can you play that a little bit louder? And it's, you know, there's not you know, an FFF mark on the page, but for some reason it sounds like the original recording. I'm not sure all orchestras are like that, but I mean, I'm continuously impressed by the Toronto Symphony Orchestra from the concerts I've seen. They nail John Williams, at least from what I've seen.
It's the same here in Scotland with the RSNO, the Royal Scottish National Orchestra. But I think they've had a good 20, 25 years of re-recording film music. So maybe they're getting, and you know, they've worked with Jerry Goldsmith and Elmer Bernstein and John Debney and all these other people as well. So maybe
maybe that experience helps. Absolutely. And they're still doing those recordings. So
yeah.
But I mean, the TSO used to record film scores in the 90s. I know George Delarue did some recordings in Toronto. I'm pretty sure that Lee Holdridge recorded one of his scores there, but yeah, you don't normally see, unless it's a Canadian production, you don't normally see, like, you know, or like the Vancouver Symphony Orchestra. Again, that was George Delarue for Platoon. You rarely see anybody coming to Canada to record film scores.
Yeah.
Midnight Before Christmas.
Sorry, that was The Nightmare Before Christmas?
Nightmare. Yes,
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That is, I feel like that's more Halloween than Christmas. I'll watch that during Halloween. I won't watch it during Christmas, although it does have that Christmassy feel to it, but I still feel it
Does have that guy in the red suit, you know?
Yeah. But it's Jack Skellington. It's Halloween. It's him discovering Christmas, but it's still in that weird Halloween, Tim Burton. Yeah. I have to watch it again. I think it's one of my favorite musicals of all time, and I hate musicals.
I don't hate musicals, but I've never watched that all the way through. I've seen bits of it, and I've listened to parts of the score, and I love that song. You know, what's this? What's it that Danny Elfman actually sings?
Mm-hmm.
And it was only years later that I realized that somebody told me that was actually Danny Elfman singing, and I was like, what? That's wow. I was blown away by his voice, but I've never seen it all the way through. So
yeah.
James Alexander says he believes the RSNO version of Superman was just as good as the original.
It was different. That was the thing that I liked about it.
I think that's the right word. I mean,
Yeah.
they're like I said, they're an incredible orchestra, and tried to keep up with all that music. And again, from what Robert Townsend had said, there's just so much work that goes into it, but they were never given enough time to do rehearsals. And they usually record these things in 1 or 2 days. So you're just ripping through cue after cue after cue. And I think that was 90 minutes of music that they had to record super fast. But I think the brass, for the most part, are just as good as the LSO. I mean, there's some squawky notes here and missed notes, and they sometimes have trouble during some of the longer cues. Some of the conducting is a bit off. Maybe 1 or 2 cues a little too slow, but I mean, for the most part, it's a different re-recording, and I love that album. I still listen to it, and I think it's and I mean, Kevin Casket and his team completely reconstructing that by ear was one heck of a feat. So I'm glad we have that album.
Here's a Christmas classic. Harold and Kumar Save Christmas.
Mm-hmm. I was going to mention that one. It's awesome.
Who wrote the score for that?
William Ross.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's so good. It's really good. It has no business being that good. Yeah, check it out if you can. I think it's great. What wasn't Without a Clue recorded in Canada? Ooh, Without a Clue. What is that? What is that track and what it's from?
That was the movie with Michael Caine and Ben Kingsley. They were playing Sherlock Holmes.
Wasn't that Henry Mancini who wrote that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that information.
Has anyone ever seen this thing called Charlie Brown Christmas?
Mm-hmm.
No.
You don't have that in Scotland, Ian?
We are aware of Charlie Brown in Scotland, and I'm sure Charlie Brown cartoons have played here in Scotland. But
I want you to watch it.
I haven't seen it.
I want you to watch it. Have you seen it, Daniel?
Every December when I was young.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. Have you watched it recently?
I have not. I do have the LP though. I listen to it every year.
It's a messed up little short movie. It's totally messed up. And I didn't realize how messed up it was until I saw it recently. And my wife and I are sitting on the couch and we're like, is this the same special that we used to watch as kids? It's utterly depressing.
Depressing.
So, yeah.
Well,
the
Charlie
character
Brown is on Prozac.
I mean, literally the character of Charlie Brown is depressed. I would say he's clinically depressed. I mean, he goes and sees Lucy for 5 cents to get, psychiatric advice. But he has lost the spirit of Christmas. He's trying to find it, and it's just everybody is against him, and it is depressing, and it's also very weird. And there's a lot going on, but it's much more adult oriented than aimed towards children. I think kids just like it because it's a cartoon and there's some fun music, but there's some deep stuff that's happening within. And I'm sure I think the strip was like that as well. But it's aimed at kids because it's animation, but it's an adult oriented special. And I mean, it's more so than I think the Thanksgiving, the Great Pumpkin. I think that's more kiddie compared to this one. But Charlie Brown is depressed. I don't say this lightly, but I'm surprised he didn't go hang himself at the end of the episode. It's like, what the hell is happening here? Yeah. So I'd love it for you. Ian, I want you to
watch it with new eyes now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to influence the way you're going to see it, but I'd love to get your reactions, and I don't
Well,
know whether the
how
chat thinks that
can I
I'm
not
wrong.
how can I
Sorry,
not be influenced by after what you just said? This depressing thing.
I could be totally wrong, but that's what I'm like. I'm watching this going, what is this? Why does this play every year? I don't understand. And it was made
No,
in the
I'm dead.
1950s.
Really?
I think it was 1950s. We were looking it up, but I think it's 1957.
I'm definitely going to have to watch that.
Charlie Brown Christmas.
Well,
Sorry, no, it was the 60s, 1965.
60.
Still,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
But wasn't the Peanuts kind of the strip? Wasn't it? It wasn't a kiddie strip though, was
No.
it? It was. I mean, it was open to anybody to read it. It wasn't, but
Right.
it was more aimed at adults.
Yeah, but kids watched it all the time. I mean, in the 80s, we all watch it. We all, much like we were watching Rudolph and Frosty the Snowman and all of those classic stop motion animated or even animated films from like our parents' childhood. And we were still watching them on repeat every Christmas. And so I grew up with them, much like my parents grew up with these specials. And I mean, I'm not sure whether my parents were like probably in their teens when Charlie Brown came out. So I'm not sure whether they were watching it or not. But I can recall, like, yeah, we're watching Charlie Brown, and it was like cartoon, and there's Snoopy doing weird stuff, but you don't pay attention to what's being said. You just think that Charlie Brown is, he's not happy about Christmas, trying to get his Christmas spirit back, and he has to go and direct a Christmas play.
So, could Charlie Brown be the source for all the depression in my life? I learned depression from watching Charlie Brown.
You could, yeah. I mean, I mean, might be. It depends on how much of that you watch and how much that you take in, and whether you see yourself within Charlie Brown or not. But yeah,
some stuff more is Indiana Jones, but
but yeah, it's a. I would love for you guys to watch it and come back and we could discuss it again, because I thought it was weird this time because it's not what I remember.
Ernest Saves Christmas, Mark Snow.
It's a great score. I haven't seen the film. But if you're thinking like Mark Snow, just X-Files, it's a full-on big symphonic thematic score. Great end title piece. Awesome stuff. So really good.
A Christmas Story, film I have never watched.
Really?
Yes, Retro Reels, I've never watched A Christmas Story.
Wow. Now you're talking about the essentials that you can watch and still enjoy it, no matter whether you're a kid or an adult. There are things in that film I still laugh at to this day.
The kid gets a BB gun, right?
That's what he wants, a BB gun.
Okay, I mean, everyone wants a BB gun.
But it takes place in I think it's the 50s. Actually, it was filmed here in Canada in St. Catharines, which I used to live in St. Catharines. And the school was really close to where I lived. So, I mean, I recognize the neighborhood. But it's funny. It's sweet. There's a lot happening. Like, there's so many great little individual scenes. And then you're watching like, oh yeah, it's this part. And then, oh right, it's this part. And it's just, it's a gas. I think it's fantastic. That's another one I watch every year. Don't really remember much about the music or score, if there is any in it, but that thing just constantly, every year I play that. It's so great.
I have no idea what that film is.
Really?
Thank you, Ian. Thank you.
Guys,
brother,
watch it.
you and I.
Watch it. It's fun. It's just fun.
Okay.
The Grinch, the Chuck Jones version of the Grinch.
Yeah, never really.
Is that the cartoon Grinch?
Yeah.
The old school cartoon?
Never really liked that.
The Alf Christmas episode?
Now I'm intrigued. I want to hear more, Victor. What? There's an Alf Christmas episode? Is that
where he like eats the neighbor's cat and she gets all upset and she goes out looking for the cat and she catches pneumonia and she dies?
Sorry,
I
what's
don't
the
What?
real episode? No, because I
I'm-
know there's one episode where he goes and visits a woman, and he wants to have a relationship with her, and the only
She's
reason
blind.
she's blind. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's the Christmas one or not, but I want to know more about the Christmas one. I'm I'm interested in that. I'm gonna go find it. I'm gonna write it down.
Do you know what Christmas film that I love, and I love the music to it, is a Muppet Christmas Carol. I love the Paul Williams songs for that as well.
Yeah, that's
and
lovely.
I think Michael Caine is brilliant as Scrooge, because he plays it as if he's doing a proper version of A Christmas Carol.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter that he's surrounded by Muppets who are all brilliant. I think it's a brilliantly done Muppet film, and yeah.
I agree.
So if you haven't seen A Muppet Christmas Carol, go out and see it. It's superb.
The one that I used to watch all the time was the Disney one, the animated one, Scrooge McDuck. And
Scrooge.
Bucktail. Woo!
yeah, it was. I used to watch that one every year, and then the Ghost of Future. He takes like, I don't know, something with a graveyard or whatever. It's really it was a terrifying scene for kids, and I remember I would not watch that portion of the show, but I like the rest of it. Yeah. But the Muppet one is really, really good. Super enjoyable. Yeah, I love it that the actors took those movies seriously. They took the
Yeah.
Muppets seriously.
Yeah.
That must be tough to do. That must be tough to do, to see the actor, crouch down on the ground. And meanwhile, he's got a hand up a puppet's ass, and you got to actually, converse with a stuffed animal.
Yeah.
That takes
But
some
you see behind the scenes footage of making these Muppet films and Muppet TV shows, and in between takes, you can see the actors talking to the puppets, and the guy playing the puppet is staying in character and talking in the character's voice to the human actor. And I think that's the way to go. That keeps it going. That keeps the magic going.
It must be surreal.
Yeah.
Did either of y'all see Family Man, the Nicolas Cage movie that Danny Elfman scored?
Mm-hmm.
Taya
No.
Leone's in it too.
Yeah, I like it.
Danny Elfman made just such a lovely sentimental score for that film, and it's never been released to my knowledge.
There was a promo album, whether it was a promo or I don't know, there was an actual promo. I have to look that up. I know I have it. It's beautiful. It should be released. But I do like that movie. Nicolas Cage is very good in it.
Yeah, I thought
And
I watched it out on the airplane ride to Scotland all those years ago, and I was like, oh, this is what I got to watch. And I was like, wow, this was really quite a good film.
yeah, it's another kind of, it's sweet. It's a sweet movie, but it really is interesting. And it plays on that kind of Christmas Carol like story. But I like it.
And
I've got it. Sorry, go on, Daniel.
I would say it's an Elfman score that's not superheroes or monsters or Tim Burton, and it's very sentimental.
It's very dramatic. I mean, it's much like his, when you listen to Summersby or Black Beauty, it's amazing that he doesn't do more of that type of stuff. And then Family Man, just that he avoids the weird Danny Elfman side and goes more dramatic, and he's so good at it. And I would loved it if he or Article 99. Very good dramatic score by Danny Elfman. I wish he had explored that genre. I mean, he did more serious films, but then he was in kind of like that experimental mode with Simple Plan. What's the one with John Travolta? Civil something. Civil Action. And he was doing these like much like the music from Good Will Hunting, that kind of experimental kaleidoscopic type of music where things almost seemed random. And those were the type of scores he was writing for those dramatic pictures. But the more like sentimental scores, like Black Beauty and Family Man, but Summersby is more of a more serious dramatic score, but just as lush and beautiful and thematic. That's a side of Elfman I would love to have heard more of when he was in peak Elfman.
But you were saying that earlier on, that some of Hans Zimmer's kind of smaller scale scores for the kind of simpler dramas are some of the better stuff that he's done.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you about Danny Elfman. The smaller stuff you get some wonderful stuff. The same with James Horner when he was doing kind of smaller scale dramas. You would get some just wonderful music coming out.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, because we were talking about Danny Elfman and Christmas, but it's going back to Tim Burton. Not really a Christmas film, but a film set at Christmas. Was Batman Returns.
Yep.
Because there's a big Christmas tree in this film,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a Christmas film, maybe.
I usually put that on when I'm wrapping gifts. I don't know why, but I've done it every year. I'll watch it, put it on. I'm like, yep, that's my gift wrapping movie. And I think that's a fantastic film. I'm not sure we discussed it before here on the show, but that just feels more in tune with like what Tim Burton's vision of Batman is, more so than the first one. I mean, his influences are there, but I think this is one. It's like Joe Dante being let loose on Gremlins 2. This is Tim Burton letting loose in his Batman universe, and it just feels like a Tim Burton movie, and it's fantastic, and the score is brilliant as well.
It's quite perverse in a way. Batman Returns, just the way the Penguin is portrayed, and the kind of it's I think it's the better of the two Batman films that Tim Burton did.
It's definitely tragic. I mean, it is like when the Penguin dies. You're like, well, that doesn't feel right. Was he the bad guy? I mean, he was kind of like, he wasn't all there, but man.
But he was treated appallingly by his parents, who just threw him in a sewer. So
damn you, Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
The Paul Rubens cameo. Who's his wife? Isn't it somebody? Oh, who was his wife that was along with him? Oh, anyway, I can't remember.
Yeah.
No, but you're right. Yeah, it's a twisted story, definitely.
Yeah.
And even Catwoman, like even the way she goes out, and but she, man, the best Catwoman ever. There's no way anybody can compete with that, and they keep trying. They keep trying to somehow capture that Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman in subsequent Batman movies, and they just aren't getting it. And even in the new Batman, I just don't feel it. I don't. I feel for Michelle Pfeiffer's character, and she goes through a ton of crap. And again, you're almost pulling for her to, win. But she's. If there was ever, I mean, that's another one where I'm like, there should have been Academy Award nominations for Danny DeVito and Michelle Pfeiffer, much like Jack Nicholson should have got one for Batman. I think those are amazing performances that just stick with you. Memorable performances, all-time memorable performances. I mean, Danny DeVito's Penguin is like, wow, that was a genius casting decision, in my opinion.
You talk about those because they're the standout kind of grandstanding performances, but I love Christopher Walken in Batman Returns because
he's always forgotten.
Because just the way he reacts to everything going around him, he's like the most normal person in that film to a certain degree.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's something saying that Christopher Walken is normal in a film. So
he had some sweet clothes in that outfit in that movie too.
He did. Yes, he did. But I also had another Danny Elfman before we get another Danny Elfman Tim Burton Christmas, vaguely Christmas, was Edward Scissorhands. It just feels. I mean, there are a certain portion of it set at Christmas time where he's doing the ice sculpture and it's snowing. That's at Christmas time, but it just feels to me like a Christmas film because it's a kind of Christmassy fairy tale kind of vibe to the whole thing.
Yep.
Not specifically set at Christmas, apart from one portion of the film, but it just and the music feels Christmassy to me.
Yes.
But
I mean, that's a quintessential Danny Elfman score if there ever was one.
yeah,
I found a movie while researching for today. It's a French film. I will try not to butcher the French title.
go on.
Joyex Noël?
Joya Noel.
I don't know. I'm from
There's
Alabama.
some EUX. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
Joyeus.
it's French.
Yep.
Google Translate is your friend.
I think it translates to like Merry Christmas, maybe.
Yeah,
It's
no,
about-
but
it's
Google
about
Translate
the
has this little button where it will speak the names and things back to you in
Oh.
the language.
I
So
can
if
have a
you ever messed
conversation
up,
with Google.
you could literally have a conversation with Google. Yes, you can actually even talk into Google Translate. It'll take down your text and then it'll say it back to you if you want in a
Oh.
different language. So
Cool.
you'll find. So now you can work on Fernando Velasquez.
But Fernando.
So Joya
I
Noel.
love you, man.
Yes.
If you're watching, I love you. I have trouble with your name. That's because I'm from Alabama, but I love you, man. Anyways, it's about the Christmas trees from World War One,
Mm-hmm.
and the score is by. Let me try this here.
Here we go.
Filippini.
No. Start again. Philippe.
It's
Now,
not
with
Philippe.
French,
That doesn't look like
the
Philippe
E's
to
are
me.
silent. The
that
E's
looks
are
like-
silent. If there was I think it's accent aigu. I think that's what's called. There's a little accent on the E, then you say A as for French. But usually with the E on the end, it's silent. So then it's more like Philippe Rombi.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say Rombi, so okay.
You got Rombi. Yeah.
Okay.
It could be
Yeah.
more French than that, but yeah, it's Philippe Rombi.
Have y'all seen the film?
I have.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the score is brilliant.
It is.
Yeah.
I listened to it this morning at like 4 a.m. and I was like, "Wow!" I'm
That
like, "Yeah."
hymn is unbelievable. So good. That'll melt you. But I mean, okay, so have you explored any Philippe Rombi scores?
I never heard of him until today. I don't
Okay.
do much with French film.
Okay, so do you really like? Oh my God, he's so. I mean, those kind of really rich, full, bold orchestral scores. So he writes in that style, and if that's up your alley, then there are 3 scores, maybe 4. I really want you to write down and pick up. The first one you have
No,
to pick up.
I really prefer more of just like a droning synthesizer
Okay.
sound.
Yeah, but this is going to be like right up your alley. This is like, anyway, I'm not going to tell you, but Angel is one of my favorite scores of this century. And he writes like traditional themes, traditional overtures, traditional end title cues. And Angel was my favorite score of 2007.
What else you got? Lay it on me.
So Angel, then you want Un homme et son chien, and
Come
that'll
again?
just
Oh.
destroy you. It's
Oh,
French.
So,
So UN space HOMME.
wait. UN space. Okay.
Yes, HOMME.
HOMME.
Yeah, space
Like home. Okay.
Yeah.
Space.
ET
Okay.
space
Okay.
SON
SON.
space
Mm-hmm.
CHIEN. Basically, a man and his dog.
Oh, that should have been a lot simpler. Okay.
Yeah, but you're probably going to find it with the French title. Another one has oh my God, it's a brilliant theme. Ricky.
Are you pulling my leg here?
No, the name's it's called Ricky.
RICKY.
Yep. From what I gather, let me just check I think it's got a baby on the front cover. One of the best scores this year is called Les Temps des Secrets. So
Whoa,
I
okay.
will spell
So
that for you.
LA.
Actually, what? No, I'm not going to spell it for you. I'm going to put it in our private chat.
Okay.
Here you go.
Les temps do what?
It's Les Temps de
Thorn.
Secret.
Eclipse.
Secret.
Eclipse.
Yeah.
So it's like a Halloween movie?
No.
It sounds like a Halloween movie.
No. It's great. It's a brilliant score.
Okay.
Actually, there's another one.
I bet y'all would never believe that I failed German and Latin.
Yeah, but this is French.
I would fail that too.
Another one that you want, he did French version of War of the Buttons. You can't go wrong with Romby. Absolutely not. This guy's amazing. So good. But Angel is going to knock you on your ass. I want to play the overture for you right now.
Welcome, Miss 80s Movies and Music. How are you? Good to see you. We're discussing Christmas movie scores today, and I'm having a French lesson.
Hello, Beth.
Yeah. So you're going to go find all of these, and you're just going to fall in love with this guy.
Because you know when payday is this week.
Yeah, do it. And anybody else that has not heard Romby's music, and Joyeux Noel is also on that list. If you do not have it, you probably should. It's just lush, gorgeous, emotional, profound, beautifully orchestrated music by a guy who really knows what he's doing.
And performed by the London Symphony Orchestra.
Yeah.
I can say that, London Symphony Orchestra.
And the recordings are wonderful, but it just, you listen to like, oh no, mais son chien, melted me just by listening to the music. I was like, how do you find that spark of creativity to write something that beautiful? Amazing. He's an amazing composer.
He also composed music for some of the Asterix cartoons.
Yes,
as
he
well.
did. Yeah. Personally, I think Frederick Talgorn did the best one, but the Romby ones are great. But if you don't have Asterix aux Jeux Olympiques, then you're missing out. And I will put that in the chat as well, the private one for you guys. And if you want to share it with everybody else, you can.
Whoop, he disappeared.
Do you know what? I'm not touching anything in the chat because every time I do, my thing goes sideways. So
okay. You know, this brings up the point that, like on the Facebook group, people always complain about how everyone sounds like Hans Zimmer. But if you look around, you can find some non-Hans Zimmer stuff. You
exactly.
just have to look.
Sorry, I clicked off the tab trying to look for a translation for you. But anyway, the Talgorn score I put in the private chat. You need to look up a track. I'll put it in the chat for you as well. It's called Le Course de Char. It is almost 12 minutes long. Huge action track. Do you have much Talgorn music?
I don't have any Talgorn.
How much money do you want to spend?
Well, how much is the mechanic going to take for my traction control it's getting fixed today?
I've got a lot of links to Talgorn from previous Batman shows.
Yeah.
That we've discussed, but
Yeah.
I haven't actually bought any on CD. I've looked at some of the prices of some Talgorn stuff, and especially the Heavy Metal 2000.
Yep.
I try to get hold of that. That's just phenomenal prices.
It's a promo.
But it's available on streaming services, so it's available there to listen to.
Yeah.
And it is fantastic stuff.
It's oh my god. Whenever I listen to that, it's like I said, it's the marriage of John Williams and Jerry Goldsmith. It's massive score. It's massive. And that doesn't even do the score justice. Just how enormous that score is. But Talgorn, like we talked about, like Robot Jocks, The Temp, Fortress. There's another French one. I don't even know how to pronounce this word. But it's just another one of those kind of lush, sweeping. I'm gonna put it into Google Translate for English. Red Needles.
Do you know what?
So it's called
Composers
Red
that
Needles.
know how to use a full symphony orchestra can make it just sound, as you say, huge.
Mhm.
You don't need to augment your group of musicians with 38 tubas and
Right.
48 trombones to make it sound huge. You just need to know how to use an orchestra properly,
Yeah.
I think.
So yeah, this film it's Red Needles in English. I'm not even gonna, I'll butcher the French if I even try it. But it has this, I mean, it's only the type of string writing that you hear from somebody like John Williams. And again, it's not you're right, it's not covered up with a whole bunch of crap. He just lets like the entire string section, and I'm talking to the entire string section, just lets loose on this theme in this score. And he writes this beautiful overture right off the top. It's about 6.5 minutes long, and it's so great. It's so good. But again, it's
What was the name?
Romby and Talgorn sort of in the same type of, not the same stuff, because Talgorn goes more towards that kind of John Williams-esque sound. You'll hear it in his scores. Romby's more that kind of lush. I'm not going to say John Barry, but you kind of get an idea, like what I mean with John Barry. A little more simple, but still just as big and lush. But Talgorn's more of he can write amazing action music as well. But yeah, those two guys, find their entire catalog. It's great. Great stuff. Anyway.
Okay, I have another film here that has a minuscule Christmas reference that you may have missed.
Showgirls?
No. Is that set at Christmas? Is it Showgirls?
I think there's a Christmas themed casino in Las Vegas somewhere. I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't think any of the scenes. I don't think it's Christmas theme. It's more of like, anyway.
Well, the reason I've picked this, it isn't a Christmas film, but it does have reference to Christmas in it, because one of the characters is decorating a Christmas tree, and it's Prometheus. Idris Elba, the captain of the ship, when they all come out of cryostasis or whatever it is, he's got a little Christmas tree and he's decorating it as they're all getting ready to go out to the planet to see what's going on.
Wow.
So it's set at Christmas.
I might have to hate watch that one again. I mean, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful movie, but I hate that movie.
I quite like it.
Anyway, but hey, good. I'm glad you got something out of it, because I didn't.
Thanks.
Oh, it is beautiful to look at. I mean, the cinematography is amazing. That's for sure. It's a great looking film, but yeah, besides that, anyway.
And another film that's not really a Christmas film, but the kind of the catalyst for the events that start the story of the whole film is L.A. Confidential.
Mm-hmm.
Bloody Christmas is how it starts off. But yeah, very, very small, again, minuscule reference to Christmas, but
yeah,
I just had to get another Jerry Goldsmith in there.
That's a big cue.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are that's a solid score too. I'm gonna try to think if there's anything else. Eloise at Christmas Time by Bruce Broughton is quite sweet. Those series of scores are nice, and I think they were all released on in Schroeder Records. What is it? There was another one I wanted to bring up.
Reindeer Games.
Yeah, that's a Christmas movie. Much like his yeah. So it's like Long Kiss Goodnight, I think, is a Christmas movie as
That's
well.
a Christmas movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
was Christmas.
Man, I'm looking at this list.
Reindeer Games, wasn't that Alan Silvestri again?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a particularly good score though. I think Kiss Goodnight's a better one. It's sort of in that same type of genre. But again, Reindeer's Games is a mess too. That one got toyed with in post production. Pretty bad. So yeah, no, I mean there was did you know that Arnold Schwarzenegger directed a Christmas film?
Yes.
Charles
It
Fox.
was made for two.
It's a remake. Christmas in Connecticut.
That's it.
And is that the only film he's ever directed? It just seems really weird that that's the one that he did, right? Maybe he liked it as a kid. Who knows? I'm going to look at the wiki and see if there's any information about it. Yeah.
Dude, either one of y'all have any favorite Christmas songs?
Like from film scores?
No, like from like church or, you know, secular Christmas songs, like Britney Spears, Santa Baby, or U2, Baby Please Come Home, or.
Do you know what? One of my favorite Christmas songs of all time is Jonah Louie and "Stop the Cavalry."
Must be a British song. I don't think we have that here in America.
Oh, it's got it goes.
Oh, I know that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jonah Louie, "Stop the Cavalry."
Okay.
Check it out.
Am I frozen, guys?
Maybe. You look kind of frozen. Are you moving?
Your lips aren't moving.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'll leave studio and come back.
Okay.
That was interesting. Do you know what? I would have kept talking to him and just thought he was sitting really still. But, do you have a favorite Christmas song? Or
I always
Christmas carol, or
I always liked the Little Drummer Boy as a child, and then as I got older, Angels We Have Heard on High, that was originally done in French. Or no, oh Holy Night. Oh Holy Night in French is by someone who can sing like damn woman, you can sing. You know, like yeah.
I know what Christmas songs I hate.
Okay, lay 'em on me. Baby, it's cold outside. I hate that song.
No, I just want to make sure I get the artist right. I'm just looking it up right now. Okay, so yeah, it's just Paul McCartney. So Wonderful Christmas Time.
Yeah.
That's a nail scratcher for me. I just like.
I don't think he's done anything that I
terrible. Christmas Shoes is just the weirdest Christmas song I've ever heard. And I live
in the South, and they play that all the time down here. All the time.
Is that? My daughter listened to it for the first time last week, and she's like, "What is this?" It's sad, very sad.
Do you have Christmas shoes in Great Britain, Ian?
Christmas shoes.
Yeah.
Look that one up. It's a song.
Don't have any sharp objects or firearms around you when you listen to it.
Christmas shoes. Hey, it's the UK. We don't have firearms.
It's absurd. Yeah. It really is. I mean, I know what they were going after, but it's like, what? No. And Little Drummer Boy annoys the hell out of me, especially anybody trying to do a modern version of it. It's just not you can't modernize that song at all. Um, as for favorites, I don't have like I have a massive playlist of just old time Christmas songs and modern Christmas songs. Oh, you know what? I think Bruce Springsteen's Santa Claus is Coming to Town might be my favorite version of any Christmas song. I think that's, but it also reminds me of my dad. He's a huge fan of The Boss. And so when I hear that song, I think that sums up Christmas for me. That might be my favorite. And then I really do love, and I know it's cheating going back to film scores, but any of the songs from Home Alone, that just hits me just right
Star
in
of
the feels.
Bethlehem. I've always adored that song.
Sensational songs. So, but yeah, I think that's it. I mean, there may be a couple other annoying Christmas songs that I just tell, Spotify to skip. But usually, anything sung by Michael Bublé. So he took Santa Baby and he rejigged the lyrics to Santa Buddy. And it is, I just want to punch somebody when I hear it. It's awful. Awful, awful, awful. I'm also not a big fan of his voice either.
David Pinsack doesn't know what Christmas shoes is. Okay, this is just the Christmas shoes. Okay.
Okay.
There's a girl begging for money to buy a pair of shoes for her mom, who's in the hospital dying from cancer. And Rob Lowe buys her some shoes so she can put on these shoes. Her mom can put on these shoes so she can wear shoes when she goes to meet Jesus later that night.
Tonight,
on Christmas night. She's going to meet Jesus tonight in her Christmas shoes.
And it's written in a, it's so...
Get this knife away from me, please.
Yeah. Awful.
Yes.
Talking of cover versions, what's the Mariah Carey one, the famous one?
All I Want for Christmas.
All I Want for Christmas, yeah, that one. I've sent you two on our chat. Have you heard of Shitty Flute?
Yes.
Right, I've sent you the Shitty Flute version of All I Want for Christmas. It's awesome.
Awesome.
That's all I'll say.
Can you send it again? Because I think you sent it when I was offline. So just put it in the private chat so I can get it. Yeah, I want to hear that. I love that stuff.
Hard Candy Christmas by Dolly Parton. I vaguely know that song.
I don't know that one, but I have to go look for it now. That's great. That's another one I'm going to put on my list.
Hard Candy Christmas.
Hard Candy Christmas. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, but I kind of like more of the kind of like old style Nat King Cole, even some Sinatra versions of like classic songs, just more kind of older sounding songs rather than the modern ones. I think it's really difficult to do a real good modern day classic.
Christmas in Hollywood.
Oh my God, yes. Yes. When that was put on the Die Hard soundtrack, glorious song. I love it. Yeah.
Do you know what? Talking of the Die Hard soundtrack, I love the version of Let It Snow from Die Hard. Is it Vaughn Monroe's version? Oh, the weather outside. I love that version of it over the Dean Martin version. For some reason.
I agree. I kind of sing it like Al does. And the weather outside is bright, little dum-de-dum-de-dum, delightful. Yeah. That's the way I sing it. Oh, Bare Naked Ladies Christmas album is a classic. You're right. There's oh my God. What is the song that they do? They sing it halfway, like as gentle as possible, and then turns into, it's not God Rest You Merry Gentlemen. What song is it where they're singing it really gentle and it just goes into like a classic upbeat crazy Bare Naked Ladies version of it? Oh, darn it. It's really good. I want you guys to hear it because it's a lot of fun. Bare Naked Ladies for the Holiday track list. Jingle Bells. I think it's the Jingle Bells. And they even add the Jingle Bells Batman Smells lyrics into it. It's great.
Rudolph's got VD.
Yeah. You guys have heard the Bare Naked Ladies?
Yeah.
Yeah. So check out, I think it's the Jingle Bells. It's a good album, though.
Well, guys, I don't have to get ready for my ride to pick me up here for too long since
All
my
right.
truck's in the shop. Hopefully, it's getting fixed this time. I am supposed to fly out to Boston next week. I don't know if that's going to happen. It's kind of going to come down to what this truck is going to cost me. So, fingers crossed. But
I hope it works out for you.
Yeah. Are we done for the year then? Or are we?
I'm usually available when y'all are available. Although, if I'm going to Boston next week, I will not be available next Monday.
Yeah, that's fine. Because we were also kind of discussing maybe going to the weekend. Maybe it might be easier for more people to tune in or even work at a better time for us. But I mean, again, sometimes I can't because I'm literally in the middle of my workday doing this. But if this works for the chat, if Monday is the best, then fine, I'll keep going the best I can. But if weekends work better, then I mean, it might even be beneficial for Ian. We could do it at a earlier time or whatever. But I mean, yeah, if we want to get together a couple weeks from now, that's fine. Or if that's it for the year, then Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I hope everyone
Merry
likes their
Christmas.
Christmas gifts.
I certainly did.
That was an
So-
incredible video, by the way, Ian. That was
That was-
unbelievable. I was watching it. I don't know what I put in the chat. I was like smiling the whole damn way. Every time you open up, I'm like, oh, also my jaw was on the ground. Like I could not. What, you got that? Then it's the next one. You got that? And it was like a whole bunch of. That was a fantastic video. I couldn't believe
Well,
it.
just imagine how I felt opening that box and seeing what, it was just jammed full of CDs. I just couldn't believe it. And then when I bought these,
You have Eric to thank for those because I was on the fence on that.
I'm still almost speechless. It's just absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So thank you again,
And
Daniel.
I got
Eric.
I got a better buy on those 5 Goldsmith CDs than I did on MacArthur last year.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, some guy on eBay had volumes 1 through 4, never opened for like. Are you sure that's the right price? Buy it now. I'm not.
The decimal point was in the wrong spot.
And so then I ordered volume 5. I think that was during the sale they had. I ordered volume 5. So yeah, that was better buy than MacArthur last year.
Yeah. I said to you before we came on air that these are still in the cellophane because they're Christmas presents, and I wasn't going to open them until Christmas Day, but I'm not sure whether that's actually going to last.
You should listen to them.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it might take you from now till Christmas to get through them all.
I know.
There's a lot. Isn't there another version of the Blue Max on there?
There is.
Yeah, there is.
Awesome.
There is.
That's a joke that never ends.
You can never have too many versions of the Blue Max.
Yeah. So if anybody out there hasn't seen Ian's video from last week, where he opens up this box from Daniel, you should. It's a heartwarming video, and yeah, it was a great watch. I'm just like I said, I didn't know what to expect. I just turned it on, and I'm sitting there in the living room, and oh my god, What did you got that? You got that? How? Yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah.
But your gifts are on the way, so hopefully
Well,
they
thank
were
you.
shipped out today, and Ian might get his first, because of where it's coming from. But
Japan?
I hope you guys like it. No, it's coming from the UK. So
Okay.
but yeah, I hope you guys like it.
That's very
And,
kind.
yeah, I know you will, for sure. Or you guys can be total jerks about it, just like, this sucks. How come it wasn't a box of CDs? You have so many. Give them away, damn it. You don't listen to them anyway. Yeah.
Well, if we don't do this again for a few weeks or until after Christmas, thank you both of you for doing this for, I don't know how long we've been doing this now, for quite a few months now.
Yeah.
Well, I am doing the Houston Symphony Christmas concert.
Oh, right.
On what day was that? The 16th, 17th,
17th or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
everyone, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and I will post the link in the whatever that thing I can send out a message to everyone who's subscribed. I'll post the link that afternoon when I get it. It's the same deal as the John Williams concert, except it's Christmas music. So if you can't make it for the live stream, I believe it's good for 24 hours. So you've got 24 hours to catch the show.
Again, that is most kind of you, Daniel.
Yes.
Most
Thank
kind.
you.
Are you going to be able to make that, Ian?
I should be able to. It's going to be.
Y'all can bring dates too.
Okay. It's going to be 3 hours in the morning here. It's going to be kind of 1 in the morning. So, but I'll get back to you on that one.
Okay.
But but if I don't see you before Christmas for Batman show, Merry Christmas to the Batman people and the Batman chat, and you two very kind gentlemen as well.
Yeah, ditto. Meeting you guys has just been like the highlight of my year, and I never expected this to kind of turn out the way it has, and you guys have been so generous, and we chat offline all the time. It's like we've been close buddies for forever, and I really do hope that one day the three of us can get together, have a beer.
John Williams concert.
Yeah, John Williams concert with Anne Sophie Mutter performing by herself. A Sophie Mutter John Williams concert. And we can hate listen to that.
Seriously. Anne Sophie Mutter's gone missing and will not be attending her concert tonight. If you have any news as to what happened to her, like, she's probably eating like German chocolate or something.
Yeah, no, it's been fantastic. I look forward to every Monday, and when I can't get on the stream, it sucks, and it does. I love this so much. So, I've been trying to do videos on my own, and I've done one, and I just can't get the time to do it. So, spending this time here with you and everybody else in the chat it's just wonderful.
I like the fact that Victor has just put up that. Why is it called the Batman Show?
Should we tell him, or should we just tell him to go watch episode 1?
Yeah,
episode 2 or 3.
I guess the joke was. The joke is in episode 1. I think we continued it with 2 and then 3, and then it was just known as the Batman Show. And then it's like someone named it Lords of the Scores. So that's kind of like also known as. But the joke is in. You guys can tell him if you want, or we can just torture him and make him watch 6 hours of content.
I think the 6 hours of content is the way to go, because you'll learn so much more.
and Batman trends well on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Next time we talk,
that
Victor,
or like
I
the
want you
Trump
to tell us
power,
a joke.
you know. So
That's your assignment if you choose to accept it.
Yeah. Good luck.
Find the joke. It's funny to us. It's really stupid, but
yeah. Well, guys, as always, thanks for tuning in. And people do look up. How do you say the guy's name? Romby. What's his first
Philippe
name?
Romby. Yeah.
Philippe Romby.
Philippe Romby. Frederick
Yes.
Talgorn. You can't go wrong. But
Expand
Noel.
your horizons.
Yeah.
And y'all who are getting copies of the Burbs, I hope to get them to you before the end of the year.
Again, a million thanks for that, Daniel. A million thanks.
Oh, hell, you're gonna get yours in like July in like a box of 100 CDs.
I'm used to it.
I don't get this Facebook Messenger thing from Ian. Like, Customs is saying I owe them like $3,000, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's a deal. I mean, it's.
It was worth it.
But adopt, don't shop. Merry Christmas, everyone. Take care. Hopefully, maybe we'll be back before the end of the year. If not, the Christmas concert. Make sure you're subscribed so you get the link. I won't get it till like the morning of the concert. So.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am too. I hope it's good. And it may be my only Christmas concert this year if this truck is like atrociously bad. So hopefully not. But we'll talk to everyone later. Take care. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.